Hello everyone. So this is the continuation of the last video in which we were solving the example of single channel queue, that is a grocery stores problem. So coming back to the problem here in this video, like a time customer spends in the system, we are going to get it by the time service ends minus the time customer um, service begins. So here 4 minus 0 you'll get it as 4, 9 minus 8 you'll get it as 1, and 18 minus 14 will be getting it as 4. So it continues till the 20th customer, and after this we are going for the calculation of the idle time of the server. So here idle time of the server we are uh, getting it by 4, that is the time customer spends in the system and time customer waits in the queue. So these two values will be considering, and we'll be getting the idle time of the server here, and we at the last we are going to add everything and we are going to sum it up. Then according to these uh, equations and formulas, we are going to substitute the values and we'll be getting the results. So once we are completed with the simulation table, then we can check what is the average waiting time, and what is the average arrival time, and what is the average service time, how much each and every customer has to wait in the queue, and what is the average waiting time of the customer, and all these values can be calculated with the help of the simulation table. So similar to the single channel queue, again we have some of the example for the double channel queue. So for double channel queue, we have an example called as Able Baker example. So in that, instead of going for a single server, there will be two servers, Able and Baker. The problem, it will be going like this, like there is a call center in which there are two call attenders who will be attending to the calls, and calls will be coming at the like randomly they will the calls will be connected, and Able will be the most experienced person among Able and Baker, and whenever Able and Baker both will be free, Able will be getting the that is chance to receive the calls and provide the service to the people who call him. Whenever the Able is busy, then only the a Baker will be allowed to take the calls. So based on that scenario, again we are going to calculate the time since last arrival time, service time, and the service time begins for the Able, service time ends for Able, service time begins for Baker, and time service ends for Baker, and also the idle service time of Able and Baker will be calculating, and we'll be finding the total of it, and after that we'll be going for calculating the average values based on the formulas. So this is about the inventory system. So next, moving to the general principles. So in general principles, we are going to study about the discrete event simulation. So as it is explained before, discrete event simulation is nothing but here at some point of time only the changes will occur, that is at discrete points some changes are going to occur. So that type of system we call it as discrete event systems, and we are going to simulate those type of systems, and that simulation is called as discrete event simulation. The basic building blocks of all discrete event simulation models are entities and attributes, activities and events. So these are the basic building blocks of the discrete event simulation models. We are going to create the simulation models of the discrete event systems, and the basic building blocks are entities and attributes, activities and events. A system is modeled in terms of its state at each point in time. So here we are going to consider the state of a system, and this state of a system, it will be based on the events which occur in the system. So for a single channel queue or a grocery shop, the events are arrival and departure of the customers, and state of the system will be affected only by this events which are taking place in the grocery system. The entities that pass through the system and the entities that represent the system resources. So there are two things here to be noted. Through the system, the entities as well as the entities which will be passing through the system, and the entities that represent the system resources, the activities and events that cause system state to change. So either the activities and events will be causing the changes in the system state. Discrete event models are appropriate for those systems for which changes in the system state occurs only at discrete points of time. And these are the components of the discrete event simulation. So we'll go through it one by one. So first component is system, a collection of entities. System is nothing but it is a collection of entities that together over time accomplish one or more goals. A collection of entities that together over time to accomplish one or more goals. That is, for example, we can consider a factory in which all the peoples together and the machines together will be working, and in order to achieve some productive products, or in order to obtain some products, they will be working together, and they are called as a collection of entities, and these collection of entities will be forming a system. Next component is a model, an abstract representation of a system usually containing structural, logical, or mathematical relationships which describe a system in terms of state, entities, and their attributes, sets, processes, events, activities, and delays. So model means it is an abstract representation of a system. It is not the actual system, but it is actually the representation of the system. So which usually contains structural, logical, or mathematical relationships which describe a system in terms of its state, entities, and their attributes, sets, processes, events, activities, and delays. So next, moving to the system state, a collection of variables that contain all the information necessary to describe the system at any time. So next is the system state. It is nothing but collection of variables that contain all the information necessary to describe a system at any particular point of time. Entity, any object or component in the system which requires explicit representation in the model. Attributes, the properties of a given entity. So attributes are nothing but the properties of a given entity. Example, the priority of a V customer, the routing of a job through a good job shop, etc. So next component is list, a collection of permanently or temporarily associated entities ordered in some logical fashion, such as all customers currently in a waiting line ordered by first come first serve basis, or by some priority. So a list consists of collection of associated entities ordered in some logical fashion. For example, all the customers who require the service will be waiting in a queue. Next component is event, an instantaneous occurrence that changes the state of a system as an arrival of a new customer. Event notice, a record of an event to occur at the current or some future time, along with any associated data necessary to execute the event. At a minimum, the record includes the event type and the event time that will occur. Event list, a list of event notices for future events ordered by time of occurrence, also known as a future event list. Activity, a duration of time of specified length, example, a service time or arrival time, which is known when it begins. Delay, a duration of time of unspecified indefinite length, which is not known until it ends. Example, a customer's delay in a last in first out waiting line, which when it begins depends on future arrivals. Clock, a variable representing the simulated time. So all these are the components of discrete event simulation. So once again we'll check what are the different components of simulation: system, model, system state, entity, attributes, list, event, event notice, event list, activity, delay, and last one is a clock.